Welcome to a series on negotiating an offer.
I'm Joanne Taranto.
And I'm Tom Matthews. We're at Coffee with Tom and Joanne. And today we're going to break down all of the nuances of negotiating an offer. Most likely looking at this from a buyer's perspective, because the sellers right now in Concord are in a position of power because there's such an imbalance between the amount of buyers that are sellers. So we really want to talk about it from the buyer's perspective, how you can negotiate an offer. And the first thing we want to talk about is price. So, Joanne, people are looking at a house. The average price is $1.9 million in Concord right now. Home comes on the market for $1.5 million. How should we be thinking about negotiating that price?
So before you even get into making an offer with us, we will do a market analysis. And part of that market analysis is identifying a range where we feel the house will sell. And this is a combination of market metrics, relevant sales, and most importantly, buyer behavior. So we will be looking at what other buyers have done on homes like this and what the trajectory is of that pricing. And so we come up with this range, and then it becomes a strategy of what to offer.
Yeah, and commonly in Concord, we've seen over the last 12 to 36 months that if the home is competitively priced, that you should be looking to offer over the asking price. And I know for a lot of people, that seems like a very foreign concept, but for buyers who are in the market, you understand that if this home is positioned properly, the likelihood of paying over that asking price is very, very high. But we don't do it willy-nilly. And we've heard so many stories of people say, my agent just said, offer whatever you want. And we don't subscribe to that here at the Tom and Joanne team. We do a comprehensive market analysis, like Joanne said, the same that we would do for that seller who's selling the home, but for you as our buyer client, to make sure that you are still making a solid financial decision. Because there are people out there who are intentionally pricing the house below market to drive this kind of frenzy. And that's important for you to be cognizant of when making this offer.
Yeah, so when you're thinking about pricing and what price to offer, this has to be something that's tailored entirely to you.
100%.
So there is market value, and then there is affordability. It is up to you to decide what makes sense for your financial portfolio on this particular investment.
Yeah, we say make your no regrets offer. And if the house is on for 1.5 and your no regret is 1.55, that's what we do. And if someone beats you out, it's okay because you made your no regrets offer. But what we don't want to do is we don't want you to push the price to a point that you then say to us like 3 days later, I got the house, but I don't think I can afford it. That's not the position we want to be in, because sometimes you have to let homes go and you have to know what's important to you. Now, if you have an unlimited budget and you really can go out, or this home is well within your budget, and you say to us, I'm going to be here for the next 20 years, I want to raise my kids through elementary, through high school, then great. It's okay to lean in a little further and go beyond the range, but that has to be a personal decision, and it has to be a financial decision that you can be comfortable with.
Absolutely. So knowing what works for you and what is your no regret range, as we would call it, is a really critical point to going into a negotiation. Because when you are negotiating on price, there is absolutely no promise that you will get a second chance at making an offer. So you need to think about how aggressive you want to be in your offer. And if it's an initial offer, you need to think about if there is something beyond that. And what we call this is a BATNA. It's a best alternative to a negotiated agreement. It's a business strategy where if you do not receive the desired outcome on your no regrets offer, is there a backup strategy that we can employ?
In our minds, there's always going to be another home, and we want you to try to remember that. But it may be that dream location. Maybe mom and dad live in the same neighborhood. Maybe brother and sister live in the same neighborhood. And in those cases, we may have to be a little bit more aggressive and try to go with the mindset that there is no alternative.
Absolutely.
But that will become more than just price, because price is just one component. If you're only negotiating on price, you're missing on so many other opportunities. And one we're going to talk about in this series is what are the other options other than just price.
Well, thanks for joining us for another edition of Coffee with Tom and Joanne, and we will see you in part 2 of Negotiating Strategies.
Cheers.
Cheers.